mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style. So it was more about who Lily is that was so fascinating to me.
And find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible.
Have you ever imagined Hollywood collaborations as seamless and glamorous? Think again. Behind the dazzling facade of the upcoming movie, It Ends With Us, starring the radiant Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, who also took on the director's chair, a storm was brewing. Not just your run-of-the-mill creative disagreements, but a full-blown clash of visions that led to unexpected tension. We're talking about the kind of tension that sparks late-night emergency calls and soul-bearing apologies at 2 a.m. What began as a dream project, adapting a deeply personal and beloved story, shockingly devolved into behind-the-scenes drama that blindsided everyone involved. But amidst the friction and the friction, a raw, vulnerable 2 a.m. audio message emerged, revealing far more than just script squabbles. Get ready to dive deep, because we're uncovering the real story of what went down between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us. A story of creative passion, clashing egos, and a very public apology.
A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, it's like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blue, something new.
Wait, which one?
It's just,
now I want to think of the scene.
Oh, I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
And tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I borrowed it.
His suit?
It was meant for him to wear, but it's so pretty. Look at it. You guys are not getting it in the shot.
It Ends With Us. For millions of readers worldwide, especially fans of author Colleen Hoover, those words are practically sacred. This wasn't just another romantic drama. It was the cinematic adaptation of a novel that had burrowed its way into hearts with its raw portrayal of love, loss, and complex relationships. The anticipation was immense, and when the casting announcements came, Blake Lively, a Hollywood A-lister known for her captivating screen presence, and Justin Baldoni, celebrated for his emotionally resonant directorial work and nuanced storytelling. It felt like a perfect alignment of stars. Fans rejoiced. Industry insiders nodded in approval. This was going to be special. Initially, the collaboration seemed idyllic. Both Lively and Baldoni expressed enthusiasm for the project, a shared commitment to honoring the book's emotional core and bringing its powerful message to a wider audience. But beneath the surface of this seemingly harmonious partnership, subtle creative differences began to surface, like hairline cracks in a seemingly flawless facade. Whispers started circulating about script revisions, about divergent interpretations of key scenes, about a growing tension between two strong creative personalities with distinct visions for It Ends With Us. The dream collaboration, it turned out, was about to face some very real challenges.
I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that, and the way you framed it, and how that made you feel. I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of trust and vulnerability, and I feel really grateful that you feel safe enough to tell me that that's how you feel and share that with me. And I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit and apologize when I fail. I am far from perfect. I am a very flawed man, as my wife will attest, and and I'm gonna f*** up. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth. I'm gonna piss you off, probably, but I will always apologize.
Blake Lively isn't known for half measures. She's an actress who invests deeply in her roles, and It Ends With Us was clearly no exception. She felt a profound personal connection to the narrative, drawn to its themes of resilience, generational cycles, and the complexities of human relationships. For Blake, simply reciting lines from the original script wasn't enough. She believed the story needed to speak even more powerfully to contemporary audiences, to resonate with the issues women face today. This wasn't about vanity or ego. It was was about artistic integrity. She started proposing script changes, modifications she felt were crucial to amplify the emotional impact and modern relevance of the story. But here's where the narrative takes an intriguing turn. Blake didn't just rely on her own instincts. She sought counsel from two of the most influential and creatively brilliant minds in her inner circle: her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and her cherished friend, Taylor Swift. Imagine the dynamic of those brainstorming sessions. Reynolds with his sharp wit and storytelling genius, and Swift, a master of emotional narratives and connecting with audiences on a deeply personal level. These weren't just casual suggestions tossed off in passing. These were thoughtful, detailed contributions from individuals at the top of their creative game. Together, this trio meticulously reworked key scenes, particularly the emotionally charged rooftop scene, envisioning how to heighten its dramatic tension and emotional resonance. Blake even humorously likened their creative alliance to Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, casting herself as the protagonist, fiercely defending her vision, with Ryan and Taylor as her protective dragons, fiercely advocating for her creative perspective and ensuring her voice was not just heard, but amplified. This wasn't just about leveraging star power, it was about a passionate artist fighting for her vision, backed by a formidable creative force.
It's a bit of a tough adjustment in our house, but it's good. I mean, I have two other daughters, so my oldest is very into the baby, but my middle child, not so much. But we're thinking of keeping her.
Does she like play with her? What does she think?
Well, she sort of like pretends to play with her. So like in the beginning, our oldest is like loving on her, and she's like very maternal, and then our middle daughter is just keeps away from her.
Now, picture the scene, the pivotal meeting, the point of collision. Justin Baldoni, as director and co-star, enters the room, presumably anticipating a productive discussion, believing the existing script was largely finalized, ready for the next phase of pre-production. He walked in perhaps with a sense of confidence that the creative groundwork was solid. Then Blake Lively arrives, not just with notes or minor tweaks, but armed with a completely revised version of that crucial rooftop scene. A scene she and her dragons had poured their creative energy into, believing it was a significant improvement. Eyewitness accounts and subsequent statements suggest the atmosphere in the room shifted rapidly, becoming palpably tense. Baldoni, by his own admission, was taken aback, caught completely off guard by the extent and nature of Blake's proposed changes. His initial reaction wasn't one of open arms and enthusiastic embrace. Instead, reports indicate a resistance, a struggle to reconcile Blake's interpretation with his own deeply ingrained vision for the film. It wasn't that he outright dismissed her ideas as invalid, but rather, he struggled to see how they could seamlessly integrate into the established framework of his directorial plan, especially at this relatively late stage in pre-production. Blake, on the other hand, felt deeply that her contributions, carefully considered and passionately presented, were not being given the serious consideration they deserved. She felt unheard, perhaps even undermined, as if the very purpose of revisiting and refining the script had been dismissed. The tension escalated. The meeting, meant to be a collaborative step forward, instead became a flashpoint. Frustrated and feeling that her creative voice was being marginalized, Blake reportedly left the meeting feeling deeply upset, believing that the collaborative spirit she had hoped for was fundamentally absent. This wasn't just a minor disagreement about a line of dialogue. It was a fundamental clash of creative perspectives, threatening to derail the entire project.
It's based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
But here's where the narrative arc bends in an unexpected direction, revealing a surprising level of self-awareness and vulnerability. Later that evening, as the dust settled and emotions perhaps cooled, Justin Baldoni experienced a moment of profound reflection. He began to process the day's events, re-evaluating his own reaction and its impact on Blake. He recognized, perhaps with a dawning clarity, that his response might have come across as dismissive, as failing to adequately value Blake's perspective and the significant creative effort she had invested. Driven by this realization, in the dead of night around 2 a.m., Justin took a rather unconventional step. He recorded a nearly 7-minute audio message, a digital olive branch extended in the quiet hours. This wasn't a brief, perfunctory text. It was a deeply personal and considered communication. In this message, time-stamped in the pre-dawn hours, a different facet of Justin Baldoni emerged, one marked by humility and genuine remorse. He offered a sincere apology to Blake, not just for the disagreement disagreement itself, but specifically for how he had handled the situation. He admitted he had fallen short, failing to respond with the positivity and enthusiasm her creative input deserved. Crucially, he confessed that he did value her ideas, that he admired the creative prowess of Reynolds and Swift, and that he never ever intended to make her feel undermined or creatively stifled. This 2 a.m. confession was remarkably raw and vulnerable. He openly acknowledged his flaws, describing himself as a very flawed man, admitting he was prone to saying the wrong thing and putting his foot in his mouth. It was a moment of genuine self-reflection, a director and actor publicly admitting fault, taking responsibility for his missteps, and pledging to learn and grow from the experience. This wasn't just strategic damage control, it felt like a sincere attempt at reconciliation, a turning point where vulnerability replaced defensiveness, offering a glimmer of hope for salvaging the fractured collaboration.
And I'm excited to have a creative partner in that with you. And it's just really exciting. There's so much more to say. There's so much I want to say. There's one thing that I do need to say, which is I am so sorry you have been through what you've been through with these other filmmakers and producers or whoever the people were that you worked with. It just pissed me off. Those that I'm just still kind of blown away that this is the industry that we're in and that you've experienced that as a woman. And I know I don't need to say it, but that's not at all going to be or will be, and hopefully it's not been the experience with me. There's nothing more exciting to me like that I get to work with Blake Lively and have her, all of her. I mean, that's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally fine with that. The only reason I didn't send it today was because I was trying to implement and add your notes into my working draft, which is already like I'm all over that draft right now. So there's a whole bunch of new stars that are going to be collated pages. And I just haven't had a chance to send it to you.
However, the path to reconciliation wasn't smooth. The initial creative clash unfortunately escalated, drawing in the inevitable machinery of Hollywood conflict resolution, lawyers. As tensions simmered, legal teams became involved, transforming a private disagreement into a potential public spectacle. Baldoni's legal team, in a move seemingly aimed at controlling the narrative and demonstrating his good faith, announced their intention to pursue transparency, advocating for the release of all relevant communications, texts, emails, and the now infamous 2 a.m. voice message itself. Their stated goal was to showcase that Justin's intentions were always rooted in respect and collaboration, to dispel any notion that he had acted in bad faith or sought to strong-arm Blake into accepting script changes against her will. Blake's legal team, understandably, pushed back forcefully, seeking a protective order to prevent the release of further private communications. Their concern was clear. Such selective releases could be perceived as manipulative attempts to sway public opinion, to selectively showcase snippets of conversations out of context, potentially damaging Blake's reputation and undermining her position. Suddenly, private exchanges became potential public ammunition, and indeed, excerpts of those private communications did leak, fueling the already raging public firestorm. Remember Blake's playful Game of Thrones metaphor, casting herself as Khaleesi with Reynolds and Swift as her protective dragons. This detail, among others, surfaced in leaked texts, providing fans and onlookers with an unprecedented, albeit fragmented, glimpse into the behind-the-scenes dynamics and Blake's fiercely protective stance over her creative vision. Social media exploded. The public debate raged, sharply divided. Was Baldoni's heartfelt apology sufficient? Or was it too little, too late, a performative act of contrition, masking deeper issues of male privilege and power imbalances in Hollywood? Were Blake's creative demands justified, or were they an overreach of star influence? The entire fiasco became a high-profile case study, dissecting not just a creative disagreement, but broader, more uncomfortable questions about respect, creative autonomy, and the persistent power dynamics that continue to shape the Hollywood landscape.
But there's no hesitancy. I'm happy to send it to you. And I'm sorry that has happened to you before. And I hope after this experience there will be a new, I don't know, I hope it'll be healing in some way. Because that's all I want. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial just like you and affect people and touch people. And I want to walk you through my whole plan and the work that we're doing with the domestic violence partner that we found no more, and and just my vision, and I just know that this can be really, really special, and it's gonna be special, and you're the secret sauce, and we're the secret sauce. And anyways, I have so much more to say. I'm gonna stop rambling, because Jesus Christ, it's been 6 minutes and 30 seconds, so me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob, and you're listening to me ramble at 2 in the morning. I hope you're feeling better, and give Ryan my love. Thank you for sending me that. It means the world to me that you trust me with your feelings and your thoughts like that. And I can't wait to spend more time with you. Okay, I'm done. Cutting myself off. Good night.
In the aftermath of the public storm, Justin Baldoni took a more reflective stance, speaking publicly about the valuable, albeit painful, lessons he had gleaned from the entire ordeal. He openly acknowledged the volatile nature of high-pressure creative environments, particularly film sets, where misunderstandings can rapidly escalate and snowball if not addressed with sensitivity and immediacy. He emphasized the critical importance of open and honest communication, especially in collaborations involving actors, particularly those with significant creative influence and deeply held artistic visions. Admitting wrongdoing, he stressed, was not a sign of weakness or professional failure, but rather a vital, even essential component of fostering a trusting and respectful atmosphere on set. In fact, he explicitly stated his hope that other directors and producers would learn from his experience, particularly regarding the necessity of granting actors, and especially female leads, the creative respect, agency, and autonomy they rightfully deserve. While the initial tensions had undoubtedly created a rift, there emerged a cautious optimism, a sense that both Blake and Justin were ultimately committed to finding a constructive path forward. The shared goal, after all, was to create a compelling film that faithfully captured the essence of Colleen Hoover's beloved novel. The hope was that despite the rocky and very public start, this conflict paradoxically could pave the way for a more nuanced, perhaps more carefully considered collaboration moving forward. Whether true reconciliation was fully achieved remained an open question, but the public apology and the subsequent reflections at least offered a potential blueprint for navigating creative disagreements in the high-stakes world of Hollywood, suggesting that even amidst clashing egos and conflicting visions, a path toward mutual understanding and a shared artistic goal might still be forged.
And find my way back to center. That is one thing I can assure you of. And I'm sorry I made you feel that way. That must have felt terrible. And I will for sure do better. That was not my best weekend, and I should have given it more time. And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that. And we should all have friends like that, aside from the fact that they're two of the most creative people on the planet. The three of you guys together is unbelievable. Talk about energy and just a force, all three of you. But I just wanted you to know that I didn't need that, because it's really good and it's going to make the movie sing like you said, and I'm excited to go through the whole movie with you. I'm just excited to spend time with you. I'm excited to be in your sphere and your presence, and for us to share creative juices together, although that sounds terrible. I think you and I have been trying to build a relationship, which I think we've done successfully. I mean, here we are.
I was testing for a show that ended up actually getting picked up and doing very well, and I was one of 2 people maybe, and then I get a call from my managers and my agent. They were both on the line, which means it's something serious. Right. Either you got the job or there's something wrong. Yeah. And they said, so you were the choice, but the network said that your eyebrows would be too distracting.
Oh, what?
Oh no.
And then they went like, so what can we do about your eyebrows?
So, as we dissect this intricate Hollywood drama, what are the enduring takeaways? The saga of Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and It Ends With Us provides a fascinating and at times uncomfortable glimpse into the messy realities of creative collaboration. Justin Baldoni's 2 a.m. apology, a digital message sent into the void of the early morning, undoubtedly stands as a pivotal moment, a public and perhaps genuinely heartfelt attempt to mend a fractured professional relationship. But But did it fully bridge the divide? Did it truly resolve the underlying tensions? Perhaps the ultimate answer lies not in the apology itself, but in the film that will eventually emerge from this crucible of conflict. It Ends With Us is now more than just a movie adaptation. It's a testament to the complex, often fraught dynamics of creative partnerships in Hollywood. Will this behind-the-scenes drama ultimately enhance the film's impact, lending it an unexpected layer of authenticity and emotional depth? Or will the initial friction forever cast a shadow over the final product? Perhaps in a strange twist, the very conflict that threatened to derail the project will in the end become an integral part of its story. Only time and the release of It Ends With Us will truly reveal the lasting impact of this very public apology and the creative clash that preceded it. What do you think? Will this drama ultimately help or hurt the movie? And what does this whole situation say about the future of creative collaborations and power dynamics in the ever-evolving landscape of Hollywood? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.